I'll tell you something that I haven't said yet. I always wanted Lydia to end up with Beetlejuice. I know that sounds twisted, but that was my big pitch.
Winona Ryder's breakout role in Beetlejuice is often remembered for its quirky charm and strange behind-the-scenes stories. But decades later, Ryder has revealed new details about a long-standing mystery that has intrigued fans and film insiders. What really happened during the iconic 1988 production turns out to be far more surprising than most people ever suspected. From unexpected on-set moments to rumors that lingered for years, everything shifts once Ryder finally speaks out. Could her confirmation change how we see one of Tim Burton's cult classics? Stay tuned. The truth has been hiding in the shadows for over 30 years. The rumors about Beetlejuice. Set for decades, Beetlejuice has held a special place in the cult film world, not only for its offbeat humor and imaginative visuals, but also for the whispers of unusual happenings behind the scenes. Fans and insiders alike have speculated about dramatic clashes, strange moods, and unexpected incidents during the 1988 shoot. The production, led by a young Winona Ryder and the distinctive Tim Burton, seemed almost as surreal off-camera as it was on screen. Early reports hinted at tensions that went beyond typical film set stress, sparking curiosity that only grew over time. Some rumors focused on Winona Ryder herself, suggesting that the pressure of working with a visionary director and a unique cast weighed heavily on her. Others mentioned that Michael Keaton and Alec Baldwin's conflicting acting styles created an uncomfortable atmosphere. Stories circulated about long, irregular hours and an environment that sometimes felt chaotic because of the intricate special effects needed. The buzz was a mix of admiration for the creative effort and intrigue about what it cost emotionally and physically to get there. Even years later, no one was quite certain where fact ended and embellishment began, which stirred speculation online and in film circles. Certain anecdotes passed among fans painted moments as tense or mysterious, but few had confirmation from those directly involved. This murky blend of truth and myth kept interest alive, as Beetlejuice grew from a quirky ghost story into a legendary production with a story of its own. What made these rumors especially compelling was their contrast to the film's humorous and fantastical tone. Despite the intrigue, early interviews with cast and crew often downplayed conflict, emphasizing collaborative creativity and the enjoyment of working on an unusual project. Yet, those statements sometimes felt rehearsed or incomplete, leaving space for doubt. Why would such an imaginative, seemingly fun set harbor hidden stress or incidents? The unanswered questions created a narrative tension of their own that mirrored the movie's supernatural themes. Winona Ryder's silence on the matter added to the mystique surrounding the set. As a rising star at the time, she had little reason to fuel controversy, but her later reflections hinted at deeper layers that had not yet come to light. Fans speculated about whether her perspective might someday clarify the events. The fact that such a central figure in the film remained reserved about the details only intensified interest in a full behind-the-scenes picture. The rumors took on a life of their own in fan forums, documentaries, and retrospective articles, often blending confirmed facts with anecdotal tales from extras and minor crew members. Some viewers imagined that the chaotic energy of the film's story extended into the cast's real interactions. This parallel between fiction and reality helped the film's legacy grow, but also obscured what genuinely happened on set. There was also a recurring suggestion that peculiar things occurred late in the shooting schedule, related to both personal dynamics and the physical demands of unusual sets and prosthetics. These hints suggested that the pressures of production might have triggered incidents that only insiders truly understood. Speculation ranged from simple exhaustion and misunderstandings to more serious disagreements and moments of vulnerability. Nonetheless, the mystery of the Beetlejuice set gradually vanished and took the movie's charm with it. What contributed to the longevity of these stories was the idea that something concealed had a direct influence on the making of the film, which was very different from the usual blend of comedy and horror. The real story was meant to be told by the actors in due course. With the recent confirmation of Ryder, the promise of illuminating these old questions anew is mad. Thus, the viewing of the 1988 production will be different. Winona Ryder's journey at that time was on the cusp of transforming her from a promising young actress into a major Hollywood figure. Winona Ryder's career in 1988. In 1988, Winona Ryder was still carving her path in the acting world, but her potential was unmistakable. Prior to Beetlejuice, she had made a memorable impression in films like Lucas, showing a depth and maturity beyond her years. Beetlejuice was among her earliest major roles, offering her an opportunity to showcase her talent within a high-profile Hollywood production. Landing the role of Lydia Dietz, the gothic teenager with a dark curiosity, aligned perfectly with Ryder's growing reputation for nuanced, somewhat unconventional characters. This role was pivotal because it blended Ryder's knack for subtle intensity with a more playful, quirky tone, a contrast that demonstrated her versatility. Critics and audiences alike were beginning to take notice of her unique screen presence, and Beetlejuice's blend of fantasy and comedy helped her stand out. The movie's widespread popularity gave Ryder a significant boost, helping her secure more prominent roles soon after, including parts in Heathers and later Edward Scissorhands. At the same time, Ryder was still very young, just 15 years old during filming, which made the experience both a challenge and a formative moment in her early career. Stepping into a film directed by Tim Burton, whose style was both innovative and demanding, meant navigating an unusual work environment while developing her skills. The balance between professional pressure and youthful ambition shaped much of her performance and attitude on set. Lydia Dietz, played by her in the original movie, proved to be a turning point for the actress. She got everything that was described for her, and she could finally be recognized for her hard work. The film also opened more stages for her where she could express her artistic emotions. Ryder's unique and slightly sad character attracted many people of the time, creating a bond between her and the movie's oddness. Meanwhile, even if the storyline had supernatural aspects, the actress always managed to bring an emotional attachment that resonated with the audience. This very quality made the film's content a bit more developed than just a plain comedy. She was such a great owner of that tone that the character not only became unforgettable, but also helped with the movie's popularity that lasted for decades. Ryder's recent statements regarding the movie's production, given her already prominent public figure, are very significant indeed. It is a rare chance to get an insight into her point of view regarding the making of this unforgettable project during a time that was crucial for her life and career. The prevailing conditions give the fans and the historians a chance to assess how the film's particular issues affected her professionally and personally. When the film was released, it was already apparent that it was not just a job for Ryder, but a defining moment that dictated the artistic trajectory she would follow for decades. The confirming words she spoke are indicative of not only reminiscing about the past, but also acknowledging that early work is still being part of her legacy. Knowing this about Ryder's early days sets the stage for understanding how Tim Burton's distinctive direction style further complicated, yet enriched, the film's production dynamics. Tim Burton's direction style. Tim Burton, by the time he directed Beetlejuice in 1988, had already established himself as a filmmaker with a unique vision distinguished by gothic aesthetics, quirky humor, and surreal atmospheres. His style is not just visual, but atmospheric, often blending whimsy with undertones of darkness or emotional complexity. This approach made Beetlejuice stand out from typical comedies of the era and helped shape its lasting cult status. However, such a distinctive style also meant Burton's sets were often unconventional and challenging to navigate. Burton was notorious for prioritizing mood and character detail over strict adherence to traditional filming schedules or comfort, which created a distinctive but demanding working environment. He preferred practical effects and elaborate sets that required longer setups and a lot of patience from cast and crew alike. This attention to aesthetic detail sometimes resulted in tension, as it could slow production and put pressure on everyone involved to adapt quickly to shifting demands. His collaborative style with actors involved encouraging improvisation and emotional honesty, but also dovetailed with a perfectionism that could frustrate even veteran performers. This exacting nature meant that moments of creative breakthrough might emerge from difficulty and persistence. Actors often described working with Burton as intense but rewarding, with his focus on creating an immersive world rather than a conventional set experience. For a young Winona Ryder and an eclectic cast, including Michael Keaton and Gina Davis, Burton's methods were both inspiring and occasionally bewildering. He pushed actors to embody their roles beyond the script, creating atmospheres that matched the film's surreal narrative. However, the pressure to meet his vision occasionally led to moments of exhaustion or uncertainty among the cast. This contrast between imaginative vision and practical demands reflects much of the story surrounding the Beetlejuice set. Burton's collaboration with production designers and special effects teams was particularly hands-on. Beetlejuice required elaborate prosthetics, makeup, and set pieces, all coordinated to create a seamless visual experience. These elements added to the complexity of the shooting schedule and the physical strain on the performers, influencing morale and daily rhythms on set. His willingness to experiment often led to unpredictable challenges. Despite these pressures, Burton's style helped forge a film with an unforgettable tone that blends the bizarre and the touching in equal measure. This relentless pursuit of a unique cinematic voice is part of why Beetlejuice remains beloved and frequently studied. His direction style shaped not just the film, but the experiences of everyone involved, including Ryders. The shadows cast by the director's intense focus on atmosphere help explain why behind-the-scenes dynamics were not always easy, leading to the production difficulties that marked the filming of Beetlejuice. Behind-the-scenes challenges. Beetlejuice was anything but a typical production, largely because of the ambitious effects and unique tone Tim Burton sought to create. The practical demands were enormous, with intricate sets, heavy prosthetics, and physical stunts that required careful choreography and patience. Many scenes involved complicated makeup processes that could take hours to apply, especially for actors like Michael Keaton, who played the titular character. This inevitably led to long days and irregular schedules, which tested the endurance of cast and crew alike. The special effects teams faced the challenge of bringing to life the ghostly and supernatural elements in an era before digital technology was widely used. This meant many effects had to be done live on set or through stop-motion animation, adding complexity and delays. Every take required meticulous adjustments, with the risk that a small mistake might mean resetting an entire sequence. Such obstacles created pressure not just on technical departments, but also on actors who had to maintain focus amid repeated interruptions. Logistically, the film used a variety of studio sets and locations that demanded constant movement and setup changes. Time constraints were often tight, pushing teams to work under stress to meet deadlines. The atmosphere on set reportedly vacillated between excitement over each creative breakthrough and frustration when things slowed down. This mixture of exhilaration and exhaustion is common in demanding productions, but was heightened here by the film's eccentric nature. Weather and lighting had their own unique challenges. The film's blend of bright, quirky scenes with dark, moody ones required careful balance on set. Tim Burton's preference for a specific ambiance meant crews had to tweak lighting frequently, which could delay filming. The contrast in tones also called for quick changes in costumes and makeup, adding to the physical toll on actors and crew members trying to keep pace. Although the production did not officially report any significant incidents, insiders narrate episodes in which the ever-increasing pressure of the physical and emotional aspects of the work made staff and cast get along. The performers had to put up with the heat and discomfort of the costumes and makeup, and sometimes went through emotionally intense performances at the same time. The combination of physical discomfort and creative pressure demanded a high level of patience and endurance, which was especially true for the younger cast members like Winona Ryder. In spite of these tough times, a lot of people who participated in the film still remember moments of friendship, and that everyone involved had the same belief in the project's originality. The difficulties of the shooting sometimes turned people into friends and gave birth to a team spirit that was nurtured by the very hard struggle. So, the stress and the collaboration coexisted in a complex way. But the outcome was a very productive environment. The technical ambition of Beetlejuice was parallel to its plot of supernatural uncertainty, turning the set into a vibrant and dynamic place. The special effects and set design teams working on the film were practically the co-creators of its main style, albeit they had to solve problems continuously. The high-caliber work that went on behind the scenes very often results in stories that mix success with frustration, thus revealing the relationships among the actors. All in all, the challenges of production on Beetlejuice led to an atmosphere where tension and intrigue flourished. And the only people aware of this were those who spent the long days and nights making the film. This scenario is very important for the understanding of how the cast members' interactions took place under such tough conditions. Even amid stressful moments, the personal interactions and chemistry among the cast shaped the overall energy on set and the way rumors about tension began to form. Cast dynamics and interactions. The cast of Beetlejuice was a mix of established actors and rising stars, each bringing their own style and personality, which naturally influenced the on-set atmosphere. Michael Keaton, known for his intense commitment to characters, reportedly immersed himself fully in the chaotic persona of Beetlejuice. His energetic and sometimes unpredictable approach contrasted with Alec Baldwin's steadier, more traditional acting style. These differences occasionally led to clashes or misunderstandings about how to approach scenes. Geena Davis, who played Barbara Maitland, and Winona Ryder, portraying Lydia Dietz, shared a more grounded energy that helped balance the cast dynamic. Ryder's youthful seriousness offered a counterpoint to the more boisterous performances around her, while Davis brought professionalism and grace that helped diffuse potential tension. Their friendship off-screen reportedly provided a supportive network amid the larger intensity of production. Several accounts suggest that the relationship between Keaton and Baldwin was the most fraught. Both actors were portraying newly deceased characters with overlapping screen time, yet their distinct approaches sometimes created creative friction. On a set filled with eccentric characters and tones, balancing these personalities was challenging. While not hostile, it was clear that their styles required negotiation and adjustment. Behind the scenes, cast members also encountered the physical challenges of heavy makeup and prosthetics, which could limit movement and test patience. This shared experience sometimes brought a sense of empathy, but also occasional frustration. Long waits in makeup chairs and costume fittings could cause strain and tiredness, affecting mood and interactions. Although there were times when it became difficult to maintain the spirit of cooperation, a good number of participants still think positively about the whole thing. They realized that the commitment to producing a great work was the main reason for all the irritations between certain personalities. The intention to make a film of a unique style with great ambition was the reason behind all the connections that even surpassed the temporary quarrels. Winona Ryder was relatively young and inexperienced then, and so she was able to see the whole thing from the point of a new person. Her skillful mixture of professionalism and emotionality was probably the reason why she could go through the ups and downs of the sometimes hard-to-guess situation without getting lost. She could even say it was a step forward in her maturity as an actress. It was the director Tim Burton's active encouragement to improvise that might have heightened the tensions between the actors, thus making the willingness of the cast to take risks a necessary, albeit difficult, condition for the production. The positive side of such a situation was that actors gave memorable performances, though it required the surrender of their comforts in the course of an exhausting environment. The personalities were interplayed in such a way that their relations behind the scenes became an integral part of the film's character. These cast dynamics, ranging from supportive friendships to challenging clashes, were the currents that flowed beneath and thus shaped the mood of the production, while keeping the story of Ryder's confirmation very engaging. From the personal chemistry on set, it's easy to see how public perception and rumor could diverge sharply from the reality experienced by the cast and crew themselves. Public perception versus reality. Beetlejuice's offbeat charm gave rise to countless fan stories and rumors, many of which took on a life of their own. The idea of a notoriously difficult or mysterious film set captured the imaginations of fans who enjoyed teasing the boundaries between Hollywood myth and reality. Over time, these stories grew in the telling, blending genuine anecdotes with exaggerations and misunderstandings. This phenomenon is common with cult classics, where the public craves behind-the-scenes insights that seem to explain the film's unique spirit. Some of the more colorful rumors suggested on-set clashes or bizarre happenings, fueled in part by the movie's gothic tone and the enigmatic personalities involved. Fans speculated that the tension seen in character interactions might have mirrored real-life disagreements. This blurred line between fiction and reality made it difficult to separate genuine experiences from fan fiction or urban legends. Often, stories online and in fan forums circulated without verification, feeding into the mystique instead of dissolving it. In contrast, interviews with the cast and crew over the years have frequently presented a more balanced picture. They acknowledged that the production had challenges, but stressed the collaborative atmosphere and shared enthusiasm for creating something unusual. Many described genuine friendships and creative breakthroughs rather than ongoing conflict. This disparity between public perception and insider accounts highlights how narratives can diverge as time passes. Winona Ryder's long silence allowed speculation to fill gaps in knowledge, leading to assumptions that may not have reflected the reality she experienced. The lack of direct commentary opened space for rumors to grow in unexpected directions. It's a reminder of how silence from a central figure can strengthen myths, especially when a project remains popular long after its release. Fans often fill voids with stories that seem to fit the tone rather than the truth. While the difficulties of the shoot were very much real, they were not always as dramatic as they were imagined. The real pressures were mainly caused by the physical demands, exhaustion, and the aesthetics envisioned by the director. The combination of these factors could lead to tension, but not necessarily to conflict. When this is understood, it becomes easy to distinguish between the creative tensions that are common in any challenging film shoot and the sensational rumors that have spread like wildfire. As if this were not enough, a further layer that complicates the whole situation is the difference in memories and interpretations between the people who worked on the film. To some, the moments that were just small annoyances turned into stories of conflicts when they were retold. Memory and point of view often change the way events are narrated, particularly when professional paths and personal reputations are at stake. This aspect of human nature plays a part in creating the difference between the public stories and the recorded facts. Moreover, the film's legacy of several decades shaped the way stories were told, and later generations of fans gave their own twist or added a mystery to the previous narratives. The internet coming to the fore made this situation worse, as the rumor would spread much faster without being cross-checked. What could have been merely reported as small stories in private discussions turned into widely accepted facts among the fans and even in discussions about pop culture. Nonetheless, the real character of the set still poses some interesting queries regarding the role of creative tension in artistic innovation. The distribution of the challenge and the inspiration is very thin, as some hard times may lead to outstanding outcomes. The success of Beetlejuice did get a part of its magic from those intricate behind-the-scenes dynamics that are sometimes very real and very misunderstood. When Ryder stepped forward with her confirmation, the accumulated rumors found a new frame, one rooted in the details only she could provide. Winona Ryder's official statement. Winona Ryder's recent comments about the Beetlejuice set offered a candid perspective that many fans and insiders had awaited for years. She acknowledged the challenges faced, but emphasized that the experience was ultimately formative and inspiring. Ryder described working with Tim Burton as both exhilarating and demanding, highlighting the unique pressures of bringing his vision to life. Her honesty added valuable nuance to the story, separating myth from fact through the lens of personal reflection. She confirmed that the long hours in makeup and the physical toll on actors did create moments of exhaustion and strain, particularly given the complicated prosthetics and special effects. However, she pushed back against notions of deep-seated conflict or hostility on set. According to Ryder, while tensions naturally arose, they were the product of creative passion and the intensity of the production, not personal animosity. This reframing encourages a more empathetic view of the challenges rather than sensationalizing them. Ryder also spoke about the dynamic between cast members, acknowledging that differing working styles sometimes led to misunderstandings. She noted that the young age of many actors, including herself, meant they were still learning how to navigate the demands of a major film set. Her comments painted a picture of a group working through normal interpersonal complexities rather than something truly acrimonious. This balance sheds light on how professional growth intertwines with the stresses of filmmaking. Importantly, she emphasized the overall respect and admiration the cast had for each other and for Burton's artistry. Ryder's gratitude for the opportunity to be part of such an iconic film came through clearly, reinforcing the idea that, despite difficulties, the set was a place of creative energy and learning. Her tone suggested a fond reconciliation with the past rather than regret or resentment, something fans found reassuring. Her statement also addressed the persistence of rumors, expressing understanding about why speculation flourished, but urging caution in accepting all stories as truth. Ryder called for appreciation of the craft and respect for those involved, encouraging fans to celebrate the film's achievements without dwelling on unverified tales. This request highlighted her role as both participant and guardian of Beetlejuice's legacy. In describing specific moments, Ryder recalled the excitement of filming particular scenes that required physical comedy and imaginative improvisation. She credited these experiences with helping her develop as an actor and deepen her commitment to challenging roles. This insight underscores how the difficulties on set were intertwined with opportunities to push creative boundaries. It was a complex environment that tested and rewarded those involved. Her reflections put a human face on the production, reminding listeners that behind every legendary film are real people navigating uncertainties and pressures. With this fresh understanding, it becomes easier to appreciate both the film's magic and the human effort behind it. Impact on Beetlejuice's legacy. Winona Ryder's recent confirmation adds an essential layer of clarity to the legacy of Beetlejuice, turning long-standing speculation into a more grounded understanding of what happened behind the scenes. Her reflections help fans and film historians appreciate the complexity of creating a movie that remains beloved decades later. By dispelling exaggerated rumors and highlighting real challenges, Ryder deepens the narrative surrounding this cult classic, encouraging viewers to see it not just as a quirky comedy, but as the result of intense artistic collaboration and personal growth. While Beetlejuice is widely celebrated for its offbeat style and dark humor, many fans never considered the toll that crafting such a distinctive world took on the cast and crew. Ryder's insights reveal how the film pushed boundaries both technically and emotionally, showcasing the demanding nature of the process. Understanding these pressures fosters greater respect for the film's achievements and reaffirms why it continues to influence filmmakers and artists today. Her perspective also highlights the resilience and adaptability of those working on the production. The challenging prosthetics, long shooting days, and strong creative direction created an environment where innovation thrived under pressure. This blend of struggle and inspiration mirrors the film's own themes of chaos and transformation. Ryder's clarifications help shift attention away from sensationalized tales that often surround cult films. By grounding the story in lived experience, she invites a more nuanced appreciation, one that honors both the art and the artists. This preserves the integrity of the film's history and reminds longtime fans that legends often grow from small truths mixed with speculation. The eccentricity of the film has been the main reason for its continued appeal for a long time, but the account of Ryder reshuffles that perspective, revealing that discipline, commitment, and mutual respect were the very elements of the making of the movie, along with the eccentricity. This view affects the way we perceive the movie regarding Tim Burton's entire work and Winona Ryder's career. It is seen as both a creative landmark and a personal challenge, thus placing it high on the list of points of importance in the artist's career. More specifically, her statements echoed the ongoing discussions on the subject of young actors being under pressure in Hollywood. Ryder, by revealing her methods to keep her sanity during the given situation and turning it into an intense production, therefore, who knows the situation well, becomes the voice of the industry and of creative arts in general, pointing to the importance of having support systems in place. Thus, a subject that is still as relevant today as it was back then. The insights she provided also invite us to delve deeper into the history of the film's making. The movie, now with the help of the truthfulness and richness of the past, could be seen and interpreted differently by the audiences, researchers, and retrospectives. Ryder's character becomes a turning point for communicating the story of the making of this classic film more clearly. In the end, such insights not only confirmed, but were also very instrumental in elevating Beetlejuice's title of being a movie with an enormous amount of ideas, unyieldingness, and teamwork. The narrative of the production has not only become very powerful in driving the film's main character and storyline, but also in cementing its place in the popular culture scenario, and thereby keeping its spellbinding quality for both die-hard fans and new audiences alike. Winona Ryder's confirmation finally brings long-awaited clarity to what really unfolded behind the scenes of Beetlejuice, transforming years of rumor into a more grounded and respectful understanding of the film's creation. If you enjoyed uncovering these behind-the-scenes truths with us, don't forget to like the video, subscribe for more untold film stories, and watch the next video shown on the screen. There's plenty more movie magic to explore.